Now, officials in the Democratic Republic of Congo have ordered the country's major telecom companies to block social media ahead of anticipated protests against President Joseph Kabila. Kabila's second term formally comes to an end on Monday, but the government has angered the opposition by postponing new elections until 2018, citing financial constraints. His opponents say he's just trying to cling to power. Well, for more on this, we can speak to Fidelis Mbah, joining us live on set, our Africa correspondent. Fidelis, thanks for coming on. So these protests are going to be held by the opposition groups because he's just trying to cling to power, isn't he?
Well, the opposition groups have come out to say that they're not mobilizing people to take to the street, given their previous experience, which led to the death of more than 50 people. What they are saying is that that the people themselves are actually the ones who are mobilizing to go to the streets. In fact, leaflets are being circulated across the country where urging people to take back their streets. They say take back the country street by street, district by district, until the whole country is retaken from the president. So what they're doing is trying to mobilize people from the grassroots, but not coming out as an opposition group calling for a nationwide protest.
For fear of there being violence. Now, what's all this about? I mean, he's had 2 terms in office. He knows the rules. What's going on behind the scenes here? Is this just classic, he wants to stay in charge?
Well, it's typical, especially for people in that region. We have Burundi just by the side, who controversially got re-elected for a 3rd term. And then we also have the case of Kagame, who is trying to seek for a 3rd term in neighboring Burundi. And we have Sudan up north, who's been there for ages. We also have Uganda. So it's more like a tradition around that axis, and which is really worrisome. So people feel, the opposition, they feel that Joseph Kabila is just using all these citing logistic problems, financial constraints, for the reason for postponing this election, that he's using that to buy more time to be able to tweak the Constitution so that he will be able to get a 3rd term, because the Constitution bars him from seeking for a 3rd term. So for him, he's trying to be kind of smart. That's according to the opposition. And even though he's not come out really to say, I must contest, but then he's not ruled out seeking for a 3rd term, which is really heating up the polity. And then people are saying, why would you want to stay in charge? Because he wants to be in office until his successor is elected. But then they're saying, if you must be in office, why would you want to be in office until April 2018, not even 2017? So that's a whole lot of time for him to be able to change the entire process, to be able to maybe convince the parliament to be able to change the constitution and allow him run for a 3rd. And
is the opposition active and strong enough to be able to take charge? And is there a worry that if this continues, we can see more violent scenes?
Yeah, potentially, their soldiers have been sent out to the streets, which actually portends a danger for the country. The church, because the country is about 80% of the country's population, more than 80% of the country's population are Christians. So the church has played a big role in terms of trying to mediate. And they are warning that if, all the previous mediations have failed, and the church is now warning that if nothing is done, they have another meeting slated for Wednesday, that after that, it could get to an uncontrollable situation, which might result in full-scale violence. And across the country, people have been, on their own, objecting to him seeking for a 3rd term. And with the way things are going, the political crisis might even worsen the already fragile peace in the country, because we have cases of people over the years who've left the country as refugees in neighboring, they are in Uganda, some of them are in Burundi, and also in Rwanda. So many people, for the reports I'm getting now is that even foreigners, most of the internationals, workers who are in the country have left because they fear that the political crisis might get out of hand and result in a full-blown crisis.
It is a worrying time. We wait for Wednesday's meeting. Fidelis, thank you.